Rahab's background and circumstances. Rahab lived in the city of Jericho in the land of Canaan during the 15th century BCE. The Bible states that she was a prostitute, a profession viewed with moral disapproval both then and now. Despite that background, Jehovah's Witnesses point out that God does not show favoritism based on social standing or where someone comes from. Instead, he blesses genuine faith and righteous acts. Rahab's presence in one of the most dramatic moments in Israel's history highlights this principle. Jericho, strategically situated near the Jordan River, was one of the first cities the Israelites were to conquer when they entered the Promised Land under Joshua's leadership. However, Jericho was heavily fortified with strong city walls. Outwardly, it seemed impossible for the Israelites to take. Yet, as the biblical record shows, Jehovah had already pronounced judgment on the Canaanites for their persistent wickedness and idolatry. In that context, Rahab's story unfolds as a bright spot of faith amid an otherwise condemned society. Encounter with the Israelite spies. When two Israelite spies came to Jericho to gauge the city's defenses, they found lodgings in Rahab's house. The scriptural narrative, Joshua chapter 2, notes that the king of Jericho heard about the spies' visit and demanded that Rahab hand them over. She hid them on her rooftop under stalks of flax and sent the king's men on a false trail. Jehovah's Witnesses often discuss the moral considerations of her actions. She misdirected the king's men, effectively lying to protect the Israelite spies. From the witness perspective, this was an act of loyalty to Jehovah and his people in a situation where her life, and that of the spies, was on the line. While the Bible does not condone lying in general, Rahab's actions were a demonstration of her alliance with Jehovah's purpose, reflecting a higher principle of protecting God's servants. Publications from Jehovah's Witnesses may cite examples of righteous men and women in the Bible who used cunning to avert evil men and accomplish God's will. Rahab's faith and confession. A highlight of Rahab's account is the conversation she has with the spies before helping them escape. She openly acknowledges Jehovah's sovereignty, telling the spies, "I know that Jehovah has given you the land, for we have heard how Jehovah dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you. Jehovah your God is God in the heavens above and on the earth beneath." Joshua chapter 2 verses 9 to 11. According to witness teachings, these words illustrate that Rahab's decision wasn't simply opportunistic self-preservation. Rather, she recognized Jehovah's power, the miraculous victories he had granted to the Israelites, and the inevitable outcome for Jericho. Her statement, "Jehovah your God is God in the heavens above and on the earth beneath," shows that she had genuine faith in Jehovah and his ability to save. Jehovah's Witnesses often emphasize the practical side of faith. Rahab didn't just say she believed, she took action to align herself with Jehovah's people. That decisive step is a significant lesson. True faith leads to works or deeds that demonstrate one's trust in God. The scarlet cord and salvation. Before leaving, the spies instructed Rahab to tie a scarlet cord in the window of her home, which was situated along Jericho's city wall. That cord would serve as a sign to the Israelite soldiers so they would spare Rahab and anyone inside her house once the Israelite army attacked the city. Jehovah's Witnesses draw a parallel between the scarlet cord and other biblical symbols of salvation, such as the blood on the doorposts during the Passover in Egypt. In each case, obedience and trust in Jehovah's instructions led to protection from destruction. When Jericho's walls famously collapsed, Rahab's section of the wall apparently remained intact. She and her family were preserved. This outcome further underscores the biblical theme that Jehovah protects those who trust in him, even if they come from backgrounds far removed from worship of the true God. Rahab's place in Bible history and genealogy. One of the most touching points Jehovah's Witnesses highlight is that Rahab didn't just survive Jericho's destruction, she became fully integrated into Israelite society. We learn from Matthew chapter 1 verse 5 that Rahab married Salmon, an Israelite, and became an ancestress of King David and ultimately of Jesus Christ himself. This genealogical detail conveys the breadth of Jehovah's mercy and acceptance. By including a former prostitute in Jesus' family line, God shows that one's past errors do not disqualify a person from having a blessed future if they repent and exercise faith. Jehovah's Witness publications also connect Rahab to Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31, a well-known faith chapter, where she is honored among the faithful ones of old. That passage points out that by faith, Rahab the prostitute did not perish along with those who were disobedient. In James chapter 2 verse 25, she is further cited as an example of faith demonstrated by works. For Jehovah's Witnesses, these references reinforce the vital lesson that Jehovah welcomes those who earnestly seek Him, regardless of their past. Lessons for modern-day worshippers. Rahab's story resonates strongly in Jehovah's Witness teachings today. A few key lessons often discussed. Genuine faith can transform lives. Rahab's life course changed radically because of her belief in Jehovah. Her example reassures witnesses that no background or upbringing is too extreme for God's mercy and acceptance. Courage and loyalty. Rahab risked her life by sheltering the spies. That act of courage came from her conviction that serving Jehovah was more important than obeying Jericho's king. Jehovah's Witnesses apply this to situations where they may have to stand firm in their beliefs, even against opposition. Please share and like and please subscribe.